Yes, this is another All-Stars video, but listen, I can explain, okay? I can explain. Every year, I seem to come back to this game ever since I feel like 14. But I promise you, okay, this is going to be the last video on my channel regarding this game if it doesn't come out, okay? But, okay, why am I still, on the topic? So if you didn't know, around April of this year, we got a interesting leak, and it said about an All-Stars 2 is going to be coming in 2018. It had some other details in that leak where it was telling us that Crash, Spyro, and even Cloud were going to be in it, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of raised some hype for me. If you want the full details on that leak, kind of what it all said, I recommend you go watch the video in the cards right there. I think it's this way. I hope it's this way. But in terms of the details they gave us, I can't exactly comment on whether those are true or not, because the information that I have now, okay, basically the newest information on this whole subject, kind of is a polar opposite of what that whole leak said. Is this game real, or is it gonna be shown soon? I can't say for sure, man. I can't say for sure. But okay, what I can say is this. If we don't hear about this game between now and PlayStation Experience 2017, like I said already, I will start to believe this game is not a real thing and it's never happening. But I will say, if we don't hear by PlayStation Experience 2017, the very last straw is if we don't hear anything by latest E3 of 2018, okay? And I'm saying that with all the confidence in the world, in my heart, in my body, all the confidence. I promise. But why? Okay, why am I so confident in that? Let me explain. In most of my videos, I constantly refer back to Rebranding and NeoGAF. And I'm doing it again. If you're a little late to the party and you don't know who Rebranding is, let me give you a very quick recap. Basically, he's a leaker who knew about Spider-Man PS4, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and randomly World of Final Fantasy, to name just a few of the games that he basically gave us a hint about, a whole year before we actually heard anything about all three of those. If you remember, there really wasn't any leaks on any of those games prior to their announcement in 2015. For the full idea of Rebranding's track record, I recommend you watch my Insiders video. The link should be in the description. But anyways, okay, around the time of E3 2017, there was a lot of stuff going on in NeoGAF's threads, and this year was no different. But it was cooler because this was the first year I actually was actively using NeoGAF before I got banned. But the reason I was watching so closely this year was because I wanted to see people's reactions to when Monster Hunter was going to be announced on stage, because you guys knew that I knew it was coming. And the thing about NeoGAF is it's a very populated place of hardcore gamers, so there's quite a few insiders on that website that we don't know about. But there was one key one this year, and his name was SneakerSO. Couldn't find the exact post, but I believe last year in the annual E3 thread, he told a non-believer who was claiming he couldn't see Capcom jumping ship. Sneakers simply comes in and says, "Come this time next year, I don't think you'll be feeling the same way." So just like every year on NeoGAF, there was a big Sony E3 thread this year again. Throughout the thread until E3, it's a lot of people talking, discussing announcements, and if any leaks at all, by anybody that's browsing it, they see them, they come here and they post it. And this year, just like every other year as well, there was a very fake All-Stars 2 picture, okay, and they called it PlayStation All-Stars Stadium, I believe. And this is where SneakerSO comes in and says some shit. Firstly, when someone got mad at the leak and was hoping it was gonna be false, he says, "LOL, you're safe." And since most NeoGAF users already know him as an insider, as soon as he said that, everybody believed him, basically completely cutting off that leak and making it completely false. Someone else basically did my job, because if I was there, I would have asked him, like, what else then? If it's not this, then is there another one coming? And this guy basically says, "I know that All-Stars 2 leak is fake, but what about an All-Stars or PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale Successor in general?" And his response to this is so intriguing. Nothing by that name will be happening. So that's the first thing we're gonna talk about. But before I express my thoughts on that, I have something else to throw into the mix, you know what I'm saying? We gotta sprinkle some more knowledge on top of you niggas. If you remember, All-Stars 1 was a late generation title. And it makes sense. You go through the basically traditional 6 or 7 console year life. You bring in and, introduce new IPs each generation. and then at the end of that generation, you get all the new IPs, new and old, and pit them versus each other. Sounds like a money grab to me. And now, if you guys noticed my podcast that we had on Friday, PS5 could be near. PS4 was released on November 2013, and Allstars was announced at E3 of 2012 and released later that year, which makes it so it's a year before the next generation. And then we have analyst Michael Patcher, which is expecting a PS5 in 2019 or 2020. Back then, we didn't have PlayStation Experience, and after PlayStation Experience 2016, it's apparent PlayStation, Sony, whatever you want to say, likes PlayStation Experience as a place to announce new titles. So if we assume that the at least release date from that initial link, 2018, is true, then we can use that and the information I just presented to form this hypothesis. We could possibly expect a PlayStation Experience 2017 announcement for an Allstars Successor sequel, and then possibly have gameplay shown at E3 2018 with a release later that year. This would then mean either a year or two before the PS5. And that's just what, you know, I'm thinking. But let's go back to what Sneaker said. I'm a little confused by his comment, because if he wanted to say that Allstars 2 was not going to be happening, why didn't he just straight up say it's not happening? Why did he have to specifically say nothing by that name will be happening? Because if you ask me, what he says means it's happening, it's just gonna cut the whole PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale name. But, you know, also, I know that, you know, I could possibly just be thinking about it too much and being too hopeful, and he could have just been saying, you know, it's not happening, but he wanted to word it differently. I don't know. But, you know, what I'm thinking is, it is gonna happen, but it's just gonna carry a brand new name. And the thing is with that, it makes so much sense to do that. That is the key here. Sony should try to erase the existence of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, because the game was a huge mess in production, in post-release, in updates. Everything about the game was a huge mess, and it still sold 1 million copies. Even to this day, it's a buggy mess, bro. Oh my gosh. And then we also have Randis's very passionate opinion on the game and what he has to say for it. Along with his very strong passion for the game, he also states with utmost confidence that this title will for sure happen. So if we get no news from now until PlayStation Experience 2017, I'm gonna start thinking this game isn't real. And by E3 2018, if we're still dry, this game is definitely not a thing. Because as it is and how it should be, these party brawls could be end of the generation titles every year, annually basically, because you introduce new titles generation, at the end you have a party brawl to basically celebrate the life of that system. But at the same time, so if we get to the end of this generation and don't see another one, then I think that they have completely cut off the idea of doing that. And if you ask me, that doesn't make any sense.
You see, I'm waiting and they hating, and I'm sipping on my tea. Bad bitch walking past, may I stop you, please? And I'm hungry as a bitch, but this life ain't free. If I'm trying to get this money, I can't really shake a tree. I be working, it's a 3:15. When I stop